Hey guys, GGNG here, and I just wanted to do a casual video on pulling the safe lane. I'm just gonna go over some pull timings, how to pull through, and how to deal with the offlaner. I just wanted to do this because I see a lot of supports mess up their pulls, especially uh, at the 5k bracket. A lot of people sort of get forced into playing support because everyone plays a core, and they don't know like the ins and outs of pulling, so they mess up their lane, and carries will usually get mad at supports who pull badly. It's one of the things that can really mess up your farm. But anyway, before we go into pulling, you need to know when you should pull, because if you pull at a bad time, it can really give the offlaner a lot more than he should be getting. You want to pull when, one, your wave is in a bad position for you to zone the offlaner. So I would say like right here, around this area, is a bad position for the lane to be. Just because they can stay really close to their tower, and their wave isn't going to push in if the wave just meets over here, because the tower's not going to hit it. So if the wave freezes there forever, the offlane's going to get a lot of experience. So you want to pull to make sure his wave pushes, and you can zone in properly. The second situation where you're going to want to pull is when you're in a tri lane, or you're a really good zoning support. Like say you're a Skywrath and you just force the offlaner back to base at like 1 minute. Then you just want to pull to get more golden experience out of your lane, out of the jungle. And if you can do so in a way that doesn't mess up the equilibrium, just tell your carry that you're pulling, and if he's good and he has a good hero, he can sort of freeze the wave by taking the tower. Sorry, not taking the tower, taking the wave, and auto-attacking the wave before your pull, so that the wave is still kept in equilibrium despite your pull. Alright, so that's when you should pull. We'll go do a pull right now. So the pull timing is 12 seconds or 42 seconds, and you want to run down to the middle of the lane over here. And I'm just doing this to first demonstrate the basic pulling technique. Alright, so that was a single pull, but I'm sure almost everyone knows this. You don't single pull your wave unless you're going to push. The reason why is just what happened right there. 3 lane creeps lived during that pull. So that's going to mess up the equilibrium of the lane, it's going to push the wave, and it's going to give the offlaner a lot of free golden experience. What you want to do is you want to either stack this easy camp and then pull, or you can do what is called a pull through, and you eat one of these trees and pull through to the medium camp, or sometimes you can go through to the hard camp as well. And we'll go over both of those after we do a camp. So spawn neutrals. Alright, so for pulling, for stacking I mean, easy camp is pretty easy to stack. The spawn box is this big, and notice how it extends more to the right than to the left. So what you want to do is you're going to want to hit it and then move to the left, so that you have a higher percentage chance of pulling off the stack. Obviously if you do it properly every time, you can pull it to the right or down, but pulling to the left just gives us a larger margin for error. And since it's a healing troll, you just want to walk into the camp instead of hitting it. I know they were supposed to have fixed it, but Dota is really buggy and sometimes you just don't want to risk it. So just walk into it. It's like 20 damage, not really a huge deal. So it's stacked. Now we can pull properly. And we get the entire wave. We even get a wagon, which is sort of going to mess up our DPS. But even with this wagon, we still want to be auto-attacking the camp when we're doing a stacked camp. The reason for this is that you want to have the lane creeps and the neutral camp die at around the same time. That way you get the most golden experience out of your pull. And unfortunately we have this wagon still here. I don't know what we're gonna do about it. Maybe it'll die eventually, so I'll just talk while it dies. Staff camps will always clear your wave, no matter what combination you get. The sort of move speed creep and like the 5 little creeps, I don't know what they're called. That camp is probably one of the lowest ones. Also the poison goblin things that throw spears. If you had a combination of those two camps, they do the lowest DPS. But they'll still clear your wave. So you just want to auto attack to make sure they die at the same time. Alright, so we did a stack. We're going to do a pull through to the medium camp next. Again, 42, run down. Very simple. Alright, so for pulling through to the medium camp, you need 1 tango or a quelling blade. I'm just going to eat this tree right here. And we're going to check the HP of these creeps. When their combined HP is around 500, we want to hit the medium camp. And you can throw in a few auto attacks to the easy camp as well while you're moving back. 500 is a good estimate of how much HP you need for the easy camp. It can be a little bit more since you can auto attack it as you walk down. And you're going to want to sort of balance out the neutral camp and your wave so that they die at the same time. Notice that I was denying my creeps so that they died faster and so that the neutral camp would die at the same time. Alright, cool. So they both died, and that was the pull through to the medium camp. If you do pull this small camp at 12 seconds instead of 42 seconds, once you clear this camp will usually spawn again if you're not standing in the spawn box. So that's something to keep note of if you want to sort of get a extra camp out. You can auto attack this medium camp fully, and then this camp will spawn and your creeps will run back into it. And I was talking too much and I missed the pull timing. So we'll talk about the next one then. So hard camp, you can pull through from the easy camp as well. The difference is that the medium camp is a lot easier to pull off than pulling to the hard camp, which is why in pubs they'll usually see people pull to the medium camp and not risk going for the hard camp. But the hard camp does have a few distinct advantages, which I will talk about in a minute. I'm just going to pull down, and we got a wagon, which sort of fucks with our creep wave DPS, but we'll deal with it. So, whoa. Alright, that was not as planned. Let's reset this. Refresh. Refresh. And we'll spawn this camp again. So, the advantages of pulling to the hard camp are, 1, hard camps are obviously more golden experience. 2, the medium camp pull through is a lot easier for the offlane to come contest than it is for the hard camp. The hard camp's all the way over here. For the medium camp, people can stand over here, they can stand over here, they can sort of mess with your wave. So pulling to the hard camp is a lot safer for disrupting pulling. For the offlane not disrupting your pull. I notice I hit that at 47 this time. Something I forgot to mention. Once the game goes past 7.5 minutes in game time, the creep waves for the Safelane actually slow down. And I'm not going to talk too much because I'm going to miss my pull, and I already missed my pull, so I was talking too much and I wasn't paying attention. Oh boy. Okay, so sorry about that. So the creep waves actually slow down in the safe lane once the game goes past 7.5 minutes. So pulling after that time, you want to hit it at 47 or 17 instead of 12 and 42. Just something to keep note of. Obviously, you're not going to be pulling that much after 7 minutes, but sometimes you might. You never know. Alright, so as I was saying before, pulling to the hard camp, further away from the offlaner, disrupting your pull, and more golden experience, but it is a lot harder to pull off. The timing is a bit tighter because of the distance, so you really need to watch out. If you're pulling to the hard camp, you want to make sure you're doing it correctly, because if you miss your pull, you just fuck up the lane equilibrium. Alright, so it's a bit slow, but I think I still got it. Yeah? Okay. Alright, so for pulling through to the hard camp, the HP pool you sort of want for your easy camp is around 600 instead of 500, just because it's a bit more distance. We have a healing creep here, so we can be a bit more lax. But you want it to die at around the same time, and it's going to pull through to the hard camp. And our tower died, so I'm going to restart after this pull. As you saw, the trees we had to eat for the hard camp were also these two. So you just want to memorize those trees. It's a bit more resource intensive to pull the hard camp because you need to cut down 2 trees as well. And obviously this one is going to spawn again if you pull at the 12-second mark. So we didn't actually get more golden experience because it was a centaur camp and they spawn in the medium camp as well. But usually you'll get more golden experience out of the hard lane pull. You can also do a pull from the small camp. You then pull it to the medium camp, and then you can pull it to the hard camp as well by just hitting it and running this way. The reason why you can't do that all the time is because usually the medium camp and the easy camp is enough DPS to get rid of your wave. But if you're lucky with good spawns, you can sometimes pull the hard camp through as well. HP threshold for the medium camp, timing for hitting the hard camp, it's around like 400 because you'll usually have a creep die. So 400 is a good benchmark for pulling through to the hard camp. And I'll talk about dealing with the offlaner before I restart on the dire side. So usually the offlaner will know when you're pulling because he doesn't see the wave coming in the lane. He'll either run over here or run over here, and he'll try to leech experience or maybe get some last hits if the supports are not really paying attention. He can use some spells, get some last hits on neutrals, get the neutral experience. You have 2 options for dealing with the offlaner in these kind of situations. If you're a support like Skyrath, for instance, you can just run at him. If he's like standing here, just run at him. It's the same as if he was in an area like over here and the creep wave was over here. He has no creeps with him. You're usually stronger than most offlaners, and you just right click with him, trade with him, make him run back to his tower. That way he doesn't get extra experience, and it's okay since you're usually standing over here. You're getting experience. The offlaner's over here. He's not getting experience. Even though you're not getting the last hits, you're still coming out ahead. You're not giving the offlaner anything. It's far better to get full experience and no last hits than let the offlaner get half experience and you get the last hits as well as half experience. That's option number 1. Option number 2, if you're not really gonna be able to like harass him and force him out, or if he's like really clever and he's like standing over here, what you want to do is just proceed as normal, but when you're balancing your wave with the camp, make sure that you don't actually deny your own creeps. So you still want to attack your own creeps to make sure that they die at the same time the camp dies, but you don't want to get the actual deny on the wave creep, because if you deny a creep, he gets half experience from that creep, right? If he's like in the area. But if the neutrals get the creep, he actually doesn't get any experience at all. So that's just one of the tricks you should use if you see an offlaner leeching for experience. Alright, so now I'm going to restart on the dire side, and we'll talk about how to do stuff for the dire Safelane. Alright, so we're on the dire side now. Quickly, a few differences between the lanes. There are no trees between the lane and the easy camp, so stacking and pulling this camp is a bit nicer on the dire side. There's also no medium camp on the dire side, so your only pull through option is this hard camp over here. Luckily, there are no tangos needed to pull through to the hard camp because there are no trees, so it is a bit less resource intensive. Also, this hard camp is a lot closer to the off lane than it is on the Radiant side. So this is about 1.5 screens. This is about like 1.25 screen. So the offlaner on the Radiant side is going to be able to mess with your pull a lot more. The good news is that since it's so close to the lane, you can pull this hard camp just by itself, which I'll go over in a minute. So as for stacking this neutral camp, this easy camp, the spawn box is about this big. It's a lot smaller than on Radiant side. So when you stack it, you either want to run up or you want to run to the right. I prefer running up because it puts you closer to the lane in case anything unexpected happens to your carry. Running to the right is really far away from your tower, so you can't really respond in time. You want to hit this to stack at around 52, 53. And since it's a healing troll, we're just going to run in and run back up. The reason why you don't want to run down on on Radiant, is because the spawn box for the easy camp goes all the way down to here. It's like this. So if you run down, there's a high chance that your timing isn't precise enough and you'll end up not stacking. So running to the left is the safest option. But on Dire, the spawn box only goes up to here, so there's really no reason not to run up. And we'll just clear this as fast as possible. And I'll show you guys the pull through to the hard camp. I did say that pulling through to the hard camp was nice because you don't have to use a tango, but it is also a bit more difficult to pull through on the Dire side than it is on the Radiant side. And you'll see why in a minute. So, even though you don't need to use a tango, there are still these trees over here. And when we actually do the pull, you'll see that these trees are pretty annoying in terms of blocking your path to the easy camp. Alright, so for pull timings, it's exactly the same as on Radiant. 12 seconds, 42 seconds, and 47 and 17 after 7.5 minutes. Again, the pull timings are slightly more lenient on Dire side than on Radiant, so you can sort of be imprecise and it'll be fine. Again, the HP threshold is around 500. You have to be a lot more precise though. So the distance is a lot longer between this camp and this camp than on Radiant. The medium camp is basically right next to the small camp. This one is quite a bit further away. Also, because of these trees, you have no chance to deal any damage through right clicks to this easy camp. You might get one right click off or two, but it's not like on the Radiant side where you're just like right next to the easy camp, so you can be auto attacking this the entire time you're trying to pull through in case you started a bit too early. So when you're pulling this hard camp, you have to be very precise about knowing the HP of this. 500 is where you want to sort of hit this camp to run up. Alright, so that was the pull through, and we're gonna do just an R camp pull through to the lane. Let's actually try to push this lane out a bit before we do our pull. So for pulling the hard camp, you need a tango, and you want to eat this at 50 or 10, and you just want to walk over here so that you're close to the lanes, and you should be able to drag all 4 creeps. I sort of mistimed it there. but you should be fine. Just 50 seconds, 10 seconds, or when the creeps are at the tower, you want to eat a tango over here and just drag the creeps over here. Alright, so that was all the pulls you can pull off through like normal supporting means. If you have like a Pudge or a Tiny or something, you can do some crazy pulls, but I'm not gonna go over those. I didn't want to do a super edited video because I want you guys to see my mistakes and sort of realize that if you're even the slightest bit off on your timings, you can mess up your pull and sort of screw your lane over. So if you want to be a good support, you have to go to a lobby and practice your pulls. Sort of figure out what the HP pools of different creeps are, how much damage they do, how much damage your own creeps do, and when it comes to a real game, you'll be pretty prepared to get every pull off effectively. I think that's it for now. I'll come out with a counter warding guide in the next few weeks, and also a general warding guide, just for dewarding and blocking camps for pulls, and also for junglers and stuff like that. So be on the lookout for that. Let me know what you thought in the comment section below, and I hope you guys enjoy the video, and I'll see you guys next time.